Okay, DeLuca's gone forward, so they've made a change. They've got DeLuca forward. Look like Longmuir.
Whitnell's gone back to play on Simmons at centre-half back. There's Lance Whitnell, centre of screen.
I was quite surprised after about 4 or 5 goals that Whitnell wasn't back. There was a loose man in defence because Pagan has done that before.
Third term at the MCG. The Tigers by 77 points. As we start the third stanza, their best ever half-time score against Carlton. French against Noble. Tuck and Johnson scrapping at ground level. French collapses in over the top of it and will have another bounce.
Just have a look at this stop play to just see where the Carlton players are. Are they within touching area? Yes, you can see everyone's got one-on-one. They're touching them. Richmond are trying to do the same, but at least I think that's a mentality for the second half.
Got to be aggressive, don't they? Get on the front foot a little bit. Here's a chance for the Tigers again. Simmons from 50. Attacks the goal square. They've been so direct this afternoon, Richmond. Brown against Wiggins. Brown tries to keep it in. Wiggins played it pretty well, actually.
Around the shoulder.
Around the neck.
Umpire penalised him. They were scrapping. Brown took possession of the football. Umpire will call Brown back. He's called time off.
Good play by Terry Wallace. He's seen Wiggins has gone to Brown late in that halfway during the second quarter as he comes in board.
He's booted 3 and now he's kicked 4. The misery continues for the Blues. The Tigers go further in front. Simon Wiggins feels aggrieved. Nathan Brown has 4.
Well, look, he's just a young player, Simon Wiggins, still trying to learn the game. You've got to throw it to your senior players. David Teague, go and play on Nathan Brown. He's not that big. You can outmark him body. It's just the smarts, and that was a free kick. And just good players finish off like this. And, well, we've got one here, Kevin Bartlett, who's one of the best of all time. But that's what good players do.
Well, just to put this game in perspective, 77 points, which the Tigers led by at half-time. That was the biggest winning margin ever over Carlton in the history of the Richmond Football Club. They led by that at half-time. Now, of course, it's 83 points. So it looks like it's going to be an historic game for the Tigers. And whether or not Carlton can actually just conjure up something in their second half is going to be one of the most interesting things to see whether or not pride is on the line.
The one thing about that one-on-one football, you've got to be proactive. I mean, you take the first step to the ball, because other than that, you'll be following backsides, and that's when you give free kicks away.
No, it's a good point. They've got to try and just let themselves go. Take some risks, see if they can, defend when they've got to defend. Here's the Tigers coming forward, looking for Richardson. That time on the stretch, couldn't take it. Whitnell now, back in defence, hammers the ball back to the edge of the centre square. Getting back is Noble. Couldn't take it. At ground level, the Tigers have been absolutely fantastic with numbers around the ball. Here's Callaway wrapped up in the tackle, and we've got a ball up. Yes, Tony, if you just do everything negative by the Carlton players in the second half by just trying to follow Richmond around the ground, well, they'll never score. But this is as bad as I've seen Carlton play. This is completely against everything that Carlton has shown in their improvement so far this year. Simpson on hands and knees. Young man just still trying to make his way in the game. As Carlton try and come forward. Here's a chance now for Koutafidis to Johnson. Stands outside 50. Here's Gaspar. Takes the front position. He's been superb today. We heard Glenn Manton talking about. Here's Heath Scotland trying to find Lappin there. Sole goal kicker. Quick snap into the pocket. Trying to make ground his weight. Couldn't quite get it on the half volley. And Coughlin, who's had 24 possessions, is happy to see the ball over the line for a boundary throw-in.
Just thought DeLuca, Darren Gaspar had his arm over the shoulder of DeLuca in that marking contest in the goal square. Nathan Brown got a free kick up the other end, but it wasn't to be for Carlton.
Tuck at the front of the contest. Harassed by Waite, taken to ground. Play on the call. Bannister. Now to Johnson. Umpire is going to call it back. He's going to say it was in the back against Jared Waite. Free kick going back to Shane Tuck.
This is a great story, Tony, of perseverance, isn't it?
Yes,
having belief in yourself and not giving up on your dream.
Teague, he was dealt with. Umpire said mark will be paid. Goes to Graham down the line. Richmond been very good by foot this afternoon. They've just been very good full stop in every aspect of the game. Camporelli inboard. Lappin disposed of his opponent but went to ground himself. Simpson, the youngster. Koutafidis. Bannister. Awkward kick inside 50, but a mark taken by French. And the big man will go back from right on 50 directly in front in a bid to kick Carlton's second goal of the afternoon.
Well, good move. It looks like Barnaby French has been told go forward and try and take a mark. We can't win the game, but we can at least try and get some goal scoring power from you that way. He has pushed back early in the game, but it just didn't stop the onslaught.
He's kicked 1 goal for the season, Barnaby French, 29-13 in his 105 game career. Chance to kick the Blues second. Good-looking kick off the boot. Beautiful finish from Barnaby French. And the Blues have got their second goal.
Well, that's the ploy. You have to get forward to kick goals. Cade Simpson, he's done some good things, Cade Simpson, for a youngster in the game, and again, still learning. But there's Barnaby French takes a mark. Gee, he's been good. He hasn't been great today, but he's been outnumbered at all. He might have won the taps, but Richmond on ballers have really done well at ground level. But he's been a fantastic player for Carlton over a year and a half. They need a Matty. They need another. No, Matty Allen's not there. They need another ruckman to stand up for the Blues. He's done a lot of workload over the last year and a half.
Barnaby French just might inspire the Blues. Here's Johnson out of that centre square to the half-forward line, and again Chaffey playing in his 150th game today. Just the 50th player for the Tigers to do that. Can set it up. Tuck. Now there is a story. Goes short, finds Meyer. Some big raps on young Danny Meyer down at Tigerland. Here's Richardson again playing in front of Thornton. Takes the grab. Squeezed up on the boundary line, but he's kicked 2 goals, both those goals coming in the first term. He's got 2 behinds next to his name as well.
KB Shane Tuck, he looks like he's got the running ability of his father, Michael, who just had unbelievable stamina.
Well, that was one of the reasons Terry Wallace decided to keep Shane Tuck on, because he said his father was a bit of a late developer, played a lot of games in the reserves, maybe
90
even,
odd?
close to 100 games in the reserves, so he thought maybe like father, like son. 9 individual goal kickers for the Tigers today, and Richardson this time is way off target. That just floated off the boot. Just comes away limping and through for a behind. That's his 3rd of the afternoon. Here's Wayne Campbell on the bench. He'll be stretching and itching to get into the action. Stevens short to Camporelli around the corner. Another poor disposal.
No one's on the mark.
And Richardson just caught in 2 minds, squeezed up on 50 around the corner, and again Simmons, easy as you like, takes the grab.
Well, when your superstar players or your senior players start kicking the ball like Scott Camporelli, turning it over from 10 metres or 15 metres out straight to Richo. Richo got caught up again. I still think he's got to go back and have a shot on goal, but no one on the mark. Got him in 2 minds. But again, look, how easy is this? Where are the players 2 on 1 and you're only 25, 30 metres out from goal? That would be hurting Dennis Pagan. You would think he'd be ropeable in the box with their non-competitive ways at the moment.
Simmons, you can see that beautiful camera shot there. We can follow the ball. He has pushed it right and through for a behind. His first score of the afternoon.
I think Carlton have got to try a few things.
You think so, Tony?
No, not to win the game, but just for development. Like I talked about Cade Simpson. Give him a run on ball. Just because you don't learn until you get in that position. Give him a run on ball and say, all right, have a go and let's see what you've got for the future.
Houlihan kicks the ball long and wide, taken by Tivendale to Noble. Back to Tivendale, who was happy to concede ground to Tambling. Squeezed up on the wing and takes the mark. Young Richard Tambling, just playing in his 2nd game. Just 4 possessions today to Tuck. Has been the hard nut midfielder the Tigers have been looking for. Uses the ball well, finds Graham, trying to rebuild his career after spending many years with Hawthorn. Here's Brown, he's already booted 4 goals. Kicks a high ball to the goal square. Big pack of players. Teague goes back. Always brave. Chance there. Was that Cracker dragged to the ground?
And the umpire's seen, I think. Free kick.
So I'll go to Cracker. Andrew Cracker's already kicked 2 goals. And both those goals coming in the 2nd term. That's why I was saying before, Tony, it's that sort of thing in the goal square where Cracker's there, that he's quick and he'll just get a push in the back, or he'll kick it off the ground, or take a free kick, or take a crumb.
Easy goal coming up.
So he just strolls in and kicks goal number 3.
Well, I agree, KB. The thing is, they haven't had it for the last 2 or 3 years where they've been kicking the ball like this, at least. And I think you being one of the best crummers of all time again, one of the best kicks, one of the best crummers. He's done it all, Kevin Butler.
Just pumped him up today. We've been a retainer here.
Well, we have to do something. The game's flash, isn't it? But the one thing about him is, if you know they're going to kick this style, or play this style, that they, when in doubt, they can't hit anybody in 50, they kick it to the top of the square. All roving players love that. You know what's going to happen in the second thought, so you just know it's easy to crumb.
Tigers have cracked the ton. They lead by 85 points. The 9.5-minute mark of the 3rd term. Nothing going right for the Blues this afternoon. Back in the middle of the ground, French against Noble. Noble got the tap. Coughlin hovering over it again. It's been everywhere this afternoon. Mark Coughlin. Koutafidis tried to release it from the congestion. Here's Coughlin again, goes back and wins it, breaks a tackle. Works himself into some space. Awkward looking kick. Set up for Simmons. Taken down by Whitnell. Lappin and French get in each other's way. French dished off a handball to Whitnell. Whitnell tumbles towards half forward. Awkward bounce for Walker and Callaway. The Tiger defender worked him under it. Hall under pressure. They seem to have endless number of options, the Tigers, this afternoon. Newman pokes it outside defensive 50. Deledio stripped of it by Stevens. Was good play. Here's Walker. Now Bannister steps a tackle. Quick right foot snap from Jordan Bannister across the face of goal. We'll have a throw in adjacent to the behind post.
Just like Jordan Bannister who had that shot on goal. He's playing defensively on Joel Bowden. Joel Bowden's playing across halfback, so a defensive half forward. I don't know. I'd rather get a goal scorer, someone who marks the ball and crumbs. Because you know, the game's over. You just don't want that roll, I don't think.
Ordinary throw-in fell short.
And the umpire's recalling. Well done.
So we'll have a reload.
You think they should come in from the boundary line like the Wizard Cup, KB? I think it was a great rule.
Yeah, most people seem to like it. It does certainly open up the goal front.
French worked his man under it. Here's Eddie Betts. But again, besieged. Numbers around the ball have been telling today for Richmond. Bowden, Tuck. They've had very good hands in close, although on that occasion Camporelli got on the end of it. He's beset upon. We'll have a bounce just inside the 50 for the Blues.
I think the great advantage of it is that a ruckman can't just punch the ball. I know if it goes out of bounds on the full, but you don't get the throw-ins, the double throw-ins that we did earlier in the last few years.
French.
That seems to be one of the positives that have come out of it.
Koutafidis and Stevens. Now Scotland. High ball. Callaway goes at it with intent. He was the only man to do so and took the mark. Defensive 25. Goes short. And again, they have numbers on.
Gee, Shane Tucker's giving Cooter the run around at the moment.
Gasper, one-on-one with DeLuca. DeLuca forced to go the punch. Scotland tidies up at ground level. Now back to DeLuca, confronted by Gasper. In over the top was Teague. DeLuca farmed it out to Koutafidis. Handball now to Wiggins. Wiggins a high ball inside 50. Longmuir's at the back. Has to stand underneath it. Good pressure again. This time it was Newman coming across the front. And he fisted it to the line for another throw-in.
They're really a no-name defence, aren't they? Like, Callaway's been around for a long time, but people say they can be beaten sometimes. Gasper's had his times, but he's back to full fitness. Newman, he's done his job on most small forwards this year.
Struggling to get involved, Longmuir. One possession in 36 minutes last week, and he's had one in 6:31 today. So a total of 2 possessions in more than an hour of football. Bowden just thumps it long, looking for territory. Notice he didn't go towards the line, though. He brought it inboard. Such is the confidence of Richmond today. Stevens. Simpson. Can he make them pay through the middle of the ground? Cade Simpson loads it up inside 50. Walker bets over the top. Here's Longmuir at ground level. Handball to Lappin. Steps one. Kicks a goal. Lappin gets his second. The Blues get their third. Matthew Lappin. 9 possessions. And now 2 goals.
Well, you're right. He should have gone for the boundary line, Joel Bowden. He had the confidence to keep the ball in, thinking his midfielders have dominated. Have a look at Eddie Betts. He said, well, you blokes won't mark it. I'll have a go. But he had to on that occasion. I think, you know, at this stage of the game, go for everything you can. And well done to Lappin. You know, it's a long day in the office now in the second half, but you've got to stay disciplined. And I thought Eddie Betts was very good on that occasion. He's got some athletic ability, Eddie Betts, but he's going to have games like this also.
Tigers by 79 points, 15-10 plays 3-3. Stevens has worked hard. That's possession number 20. Koutafidis has also got 14, 22 to Camporelli. Here's Lappin. Short to Longmuir. To back to Lappin. And from 25 metres out, kicks his third goal.
Well, great individual effort there from Matty Lappin. And Dennis Pagan, well, it's one thing you'll take out of this game. He probably asked everybody for one-on-one efforts. He contested the mark at the forward 50, just got a hand to it, and then the ball went over. We'll have a look here. French out to Johnson, the Koutafidis. Kick forward, and here's Lappin, comes in right on the forward 50. The ball went over, good recovery. And then it was a smart kick, but I thought it was going over Longmuir's head. and he just followed up. So good individual effort from Matty Lappin. He's pretty pumped on that. It hasn't been a great day for anybody, but he's kicked 3 goals, so he's put his hand up and said, well, I'm going to keep at it, boys.
And that's what they need, the Blues, just to string something together, not for the sake of winning the game, but more just a case of showing some pride.
You've got another game next week.
Exactly, pricking some pride in players around him as well. They look at him, see that he's working hard. That might just motivate them to do the same. French stripped of it. Coughlin, good tackle taken down by Wiggins. Here's a chance for Tivendale. Hands off towards Pettifer. Whitnell sweating
Free
on
kick.
him. Umpire said just collected him high.
Well, Lance, he was caught. He couldn't do anything. Lance, he had momentum up, and you could see trying to put his hands up in the air when he's coming into this because he knew he was going to make momentum. I don't know whether that's a free kick.
Well, he ducked his head clearly, didn't he?
He ducked his head, and Lance really stopped. But the umpires paid it.
So Kane Pettifer, dangerous early. Really did find some open space in the first 15 or 20 minutes of the game. He's kicked 12 goals, 2 for the season. He's a fantastic finisher. This from outside 50. Gives it everything he's got. It's a beautiful kick right to the line, and I think it's home. Wonderful kick from Kane Pettifer. He is a deadly finisher, as I mentioned. Now he's kicked 13 goals, 2 for the season. And when you play the sort of position that Kane Pettifer does, he averages 13 touches a game. You need to make your opportunities count, KB, because he might get 3 or 4 opportunities inside 50 a game, and that's the difference.
Well, he's been a bit of a maligned figure too when he first came to Tigerland from Kyabram and took Dickie Clay's number 8. Everyone remembers Dickie Clay has been one of the great players for Richmond, both on the wing and full back, and one of the greats coming out of Kyabram. Seemed to put a lot of pressure on that young boy. He changed his number to number 15. A lot of people thought that he wasn't going to live up to his high draft pick, but this year has been a revelation for him. He's really turning around, so we've got to say that Terry Wallace is getting the best out of Kane Pettifer. Chance for French. Doing quite well in the ruck now, and Koutafidis is very good out that centre square as well. He's Lappin. He's kicked 3 or 4 goals. Bowden cleans up, goes wide, finds Nathan Brown, who's kicked 4 goals. He's been an absolute live wire. Just accelerates on the burst and charges through that centre square. Here's Pettifer, speak of the devil. This time the kick's a poor one, been taken by Houlihan. So all of a sudden, Carlton just trying to generate a bit of run, Tony. Koutafidis from Stevens. Change of directions. Here's Lappin, and playing in front of Chaffee as mark. Too far out, maybe to score, even for Lappin. Again, caught in 2 minds. Heath Scotland can rocket the ball back to Koutafidis, stands on the point of the square, goes short, and finds Jared Waite. A bit better then by Carlton, Tony, because they wanted to actually generate a bit of forward movement.
I think you can see the contrast in play, and they're moving a ball better now, of course, because I think Richmond have also nearly shut up shop. But the way that Richmond moved the ball, it's got Terry Wallace at the Bulldogs. You could see the way that they get players forward of the ball, quick handballs, and then run the line. So let's see if Waite can finish from here.
Well, he kicked 5 goals last week. He's trying to bend it back, and he's done it. Good goal to Jared Waite, and all of a sudden a bit of fight from Carlton in his 3rd term.
Well, he hasn't been the worst, Jared Waite. I think he's had a real go at it, but he's been outnumbered up forward. No Favola. And gee, Brendan Favola, you just hope that he pulls his head in now in the rest of his career, because they miss him so much. It just means the opposition have another key defender who has to go with someone, and it could release Jared Waite to be the 3rd player picked up by a defender who's not good enough.
And as I mentioned earlier, you throw Brad Fisher back into the mix when he's fit. You've got Favola and Whitnell. You've got Betts, Fisher, Waite, DeLuca. They've got some blend, they've got some mix down there to look forward to in the future. And Terry Wallace, you can see him working the phone here. He wouldn't be happy with this at all, because at the moment the Tigers have just run a bit flat, and Carlton just rallying a little bit. As a coach, he'd be wanting the Tigers to just drive on. Brown. Houlihan beats Campbell to the football. Now to Thornton. Pokes it out wide. The Blues finally finding some space. They had none at all in the first half. Scotland run down by Deledio. Players on both sides running flat at the moment. Campbell pushes forward. Good effort.
Well, Nathan Brown was the player who tapped that ball in, back to Campbell, and then kept running down the line. Just smart play.
He's been hungry today, Nathan Brown, hasn't he? He's been really keen to get involved.
That's his problem. When he's on song with his mind, you just know he's got that much talent, but sometimes he can just, looks like he doesn't want to be out there. Not very often.
Booted 6 last week, another 4 today. He's in red hot form. Kick goes inside 50. Big pack of players, but won't get to it. Andrew Cracker. Another uncontested possession inside 50 for the Tigers. And Andrew Cracker stepping up to the plate to kick for his fourth.
Well, the ball cannot be in the air that long, and someone like the size of Andrew Cracker mark. Now, that Dennis Pagan, as I said, would be ropeable in the box just because those little images, it doesn't augur well for the future. Someone's not thinking right, or someone's gone outside the game plan, and it's undisciplined. You shouldn't mark like that when the ball's in the air for so long.
For goal number 4, Andrew Cracker guides it through. 2 goals in the second term, 2 in the third for Andrew Cracker. And the Tigers, as we hit time on in the third term, boot their 4th goal for the quarter. Carlton have also kicked 4.
Let's have a look here. The ball's kicked inside the corridor.
Danny Meyer.
Yeah, Danny Meyer. Now, how can that happen? You're thinking someone's not goal side and they haven't done their defensive job the right way.
17-10, 112. The Tigers, 5-3, 33. The Blues, and the Tigers lead by 79 points. Glenn Manton.
Yeah, I actually watched that from ground level, and it was quite clear that Johnson was waiting for Scotland to pick up his man when it was his business to take him in the first place.
Brett Johnson, what? Yeah. Thanks, Mance.
4 goals to Andrew Cracker. He's kicked 2 goals in the second term, 2 now in this third term. 4 goals also to Nathan Brown, 2 to Matthew Richardson, and 2 to Kane Pettifer. Tigers leading goal scorers. Scotland, hands and knees, wrapped up in the tackle that time by Danny Meyer. And for the Blues, just the 3 individual goal kickers, 3 to Matthew Lappin and singles to Barnaby French and Jared Waite. 4
goals apiece, both sides here. So you say that Terry Wallace wouldn't be happy. I don't know whether Dennis Pagan would be happy, but looking at 4 goals each, they've stabilised.
Noble got his hands on the ball first. Johnson driven in the ground that time by Campbell. Coughlin.
He's been good form.
He looks great, doesn't he? Looks like he's back to the best and fairest form of 2 years ago. Looks really, really sharp and tambling. Young man in a hurry. Just in his second game, goes to the pocket. He was looking for Pettifer. Chance for Cracker. He's already booted 4. Sets it up to Richardson. Touch of the fumbles.
It's a throw.
Just shoveled it back to Pettifer, and he's been pinged.
Oh, Richo, he's been a bit out of sorts since half-time.
Well, he's just wanted to hand it to him on a plate. Lance Whitnell. Just in the back pocket.
Wonder when the player management comes in and Terry Wallace says, OK, oh, what a kick from Lance Whitnell. Isn't that a sign trying to switch the play? Well done, Simpson.
And I tell you what, Richardson made so much ground then he nearly pinched it. Thornton has had his hands full with Richardson. Goes short, very short. Now he's just going to pop this over the top. In fact, he's had a ping himself. It's a big ping right to the line. And Simpson has banged it home. What a monumental error that was. He could have even passed it off short. I think it was Nathan Brown who was in short. Decided to have a crack at it himself. Confidence is high. And Carlton just cannot hit a target.
Well, Troy Simmons, I think everybody's had possessions. He's had 12 possessions. And look, a long kick in. Yeah, Nathan Brown thought, hey, I still want to get in the act. If I get me boot to it, it's my goal.
10th individual goal kicker for the Tigers.
It's a domination. But even that kick from Brett Thornton, who you know is a very good player, and I think a leader of this club in the future. I think he'll be the next captain of Carlton, and you can see Dennis Pagan there. If that doesn't say it, nothing will. They say a picture says 1,000 words. That's a couple of million right there.
And most of them we couldn't say right now.
It'd be a bit unusual, Tony, if Thornton was the next captain, because playing at full-back, we don't see many full-backs.
Yeah, I don't care.
Being captain of a club.
He could play at centre-half back anyway, but it doesn't matter where he plays. It's just how you go about it, KB.
I think he will return to centre-half back once Livingston's fit and healthy. As Teague goes forward to the southern stand wing. Lappin one-on-one with Chaffee. Chaffee toe poked it to his own advantage. Lappin takes him down. Play on, Tambling, Scotland. Scotland may have been legged. Play on the call, picked up by Coughlin. He's killing him everywhere. Ubiquitous this afternoon, Mark Coughlin. Over the top now to Ray Hall. Sprints away from Walker. Spears the kick towards Richardson at 50. One-on-one with Thornton. Thornton got it to ground. Stevens commits the body. Pettifer over the top. Again, numbers inside 50. Tivendale. Campbell. Pettifer. Pitiful. The mark taken by Cracker.
Well,
for his 5th.
What about on the 50-metre arc? The ball comes to Richardson. Whitnell, his own man Thornton. Now look at this, 2-on-1. All right, good play by Thornton. Now Whitnell and Thornton have to follow up here. The ball's still in dispute. And what happened was, I think it was Nick Stevens ran at it. Richo doubled up, bumped Stevens, and then Richmond get another shot on goal.
Cracker to equal his all-time best 5. He does. He's got 3 for the term, Andrew Cracker. And the Tigers go further in front. The margin out to 91 points. And the Richmond fans are just drinking it in the sunshine.
And well done to Andrew Cracker. This is about team sport. Now watch this. This is Richo. That was after the contest where the ball spilled, and Thornton and also Whitnell just watched. Here it is. Come on, boys. You've got to get your body inside knowing your teammate's going to get in the contest. Well done to Matthew Richardson. That's his goal. And I think Andrew Cracker, as we just saw, congratulate him, saying well done. Kept it alive. That's why we kicked 6 points.
Tigers by 91 points, 19-10 plays, 5-3. Andrew Cracker has booted 5 goals. 3 of those goals now coming in the third term, equaling his best ever individual effort. 4 goals to Nathan Brown, a couple of Kane Pettifer, a couple of Matthew Richardson, and just 3 to Matthew Lappin as their main goal kicker. They are being killed everywhere. Here's Tambling wanting to get into the act, and young Danny Meyer just getting a sniff as well as Campbell dumps Camporelli. He still means business. Tambling did well. Toe poked that time by Walker. Chance for the Tigers. Bowden just glides onto the ball, rockets the ball back to Chaffey, doing well across halfback. Richmond's defence has been absolutely sensational today. Here's a long handball. Coughlin is killing the Blues, and Campbell will be enjoying the afternoon in his last season of AFL football. Goes forward, taken away by Simpson. It was a clever handball, put Thornton under a lot of pressure. Hit a target. Stevens back to T, comes away from halfback, goes short to Prendergast. Some run comes from DeLuca through the centre square. Long bomb getting back his haul. Here's Longmuir. At least he made it a contest. Chance for Koutafidis at ground level. Does the shepherding, picked up by Waite. Wild kick off the side of the boot and out of bounds on the full, and that sums up Carlton.
We saw the Blues cop some pastings last year, Tony. Every time they managed to bounce back the following week, they got Geelong at the Telstra Dome on Friday night.
There's a lot to do with referred pressure in football. When a side chases and tackles from the opening bell, that sometimes you think that they're on your hammer and you pick the ball up and you just imagine that someone is going to be there, and that was the case of Jared Waite. Richardson, the juggler on the second grab, couldn't take it. Forced over the line that time is Chaffey. We've got a boundary throw in on centre wing.
That's exactly right, and I think just on the peripheral of a lot of contests today, Carlton players have had their body over the ball, keeping their head down, but just worried about getting bumped or tackled, and the ball spilled out, and that's where Richmond have just ran away with it. They get Favola back next week. That will help them straighten up, you would think.
Just over 3 minutes left in this third term.
He's been all right. Kate Simpson, he's had a go. I think the coach, you know.
Well, he's had it 9 times, hasn't he?
Yeah, and he's it's just the way he's gone about it. I think more.
He's got a bit of pace. Got a bit of pace, Tony.
Left foot.
DeLuca pushing and shoving with Noble. Prendergast good enough to get the handball away. Simpson.
Well done.
Does well under pressure. Didn't quite hit a target. Taken away that time by Kane Johnson. Hammers the ball back to the half-forward line. Richardson is running amok. Gets the ball back to Pettifer. He's kicked 3 goals. Squeezes the ball along the boundary line. Just inside 50 for the Tigers. And we've got a boundary throw in.
Kate Simpson now up to his career best 10 possessions. There's Brett Johnson on the bench.
Andrew Walker.
Andrew Walker, there's something about Andrew Walker. They've got to find a position for him. How many years has he played league football? Would have been at least 3, wasn't it?
Just his second year.
20th
game today.
Well,
he's only 18 years of age, Tony. He was only 17.
I know, but I'd like to stabilise him in one spot and maybe on a wing and let him run for a month or so.
Here's Richo. Takes it out of mid-air, has a snap at goal, but sprays it wide. A little bit in the Brendan Goddard mould in that I think he's still growing into his body, Tony, in his body shape, and they haven't quite found a spot for him just quite yet.
That's right. So, you know, the wing, I don't know if you call him wing in modern day football because people play everywhere, but even a stay-at-home wing because he's got speed, you know, he's got agility. And even Goddard, like you said, needs to know how to play, play in a certain position.
Helping back on the ground for the Blues, played just 23 minutes, so a chance for him to get some game time as well.
I'd keep him on for the whole game.
Thornton down the line to Scotland. Look at the pressure from the Tigers, still chasing hard. The margin's 91 points, but you wouldn't know it from that effort. Waite. Look away handball to Scotland. Off the left, inside 50. Going back with the flight is Prendergast, splits the pack open. Longmuir got a hand to it. Bowden
Oh,
Crunched
free
by
kick.
Teague. Will get a free kick. And the Tigers will peel off
Had a great game.
to the
24th possession.
to the southern side again. Campbell. Again, they bring it inboard. Don't get caught going out wide. They attack up the corridor. Tuck. Ran into Prendergast. Gave it off. Coughlin in some space from 50. Lines it up. Goes for it. And almost gets it. Good effort from Wiggins. Right on the line.
Great signs for the Tigers with Coughlin in such devastating form, 31 possessions today. But just the way that he's running, Tony, it's not so much the possessions, because there's a lot of easy possessions out there, but you can see he's very free in his action.
Osteitis pubis last year.
And obviously, took him right out of calculations, but he looks really sharp, he can run well, and we know he's a very, very good player. So he's a real bonus.
Shepherding free kick, Tony.
Oh, look, sometimes in football you have to use your body. You know someone's going to come over the back. And the umpire said that Lance Whitnell, from this kick in, look at that, it was just misread by Trent Noble punching the ball back. Plenty of time. Lance Whitnell just waiting for the contact. You know you're going to be a sitting duck because it's going to land on your head.
Is Richardson taking a breather as Noble pumps the ball back to the goal square. Getting back this time is Teague. He was brave, running with the flight of the ball. Western Ferris winner from last year. Goes wide, and Prendergast drops a sitter. He doesn't know why. Maybe a lack of rosin. Still use rosin these days, Tony?
Rosin or resin?
Rosin.
Rosin.
I actually shook hands with Paddy Ganane about my
And that
first
stuck to
game.
you?
He congratulated me, and I tell you what, I was still shaking by the hand when we ran out on the
What a
ground.
time.
Couldn't get rid of it. Chance for Simpson. And he is doing well. He's just trying to find his feet in the game. Chaffee will be enjoying this milestone of 150. Meyer will be enjoying just his second game. And Teague, this time playing in front of Pettifer.
Never
Makes an
used
easy
rosin
grab.
if you call it rosin, okay, but never used it once.
I never used it myself. It used to be too sticky for me.
Well,
Tony.
skilled players don't need a KB.
That's
in the
right.
Same category.
Waite goes wide, finds Heath Scotland from the centre of the ground. Measures the kick, going wide. That time he was looking for O'Halpin. And he sure says, just leave him on the ground. Eddie Betts. Chances have been pretty dry today. They've got a boundary throw in.
Yep, leave St Andrew on and just let him say, have a go now. You get about 40, 50 minutes of football. That'll be good for you in your first game. We need to get him a touch, though. We've got to try and get him something. Get him up the ground.
I reckon he did have a touch. I reckon he had a kick smothered.
Smothered
when
off
he
his boot
first
before
came into the
wasn't counted as a kick.
as a kick.
Wasn't counted as a kick.
Well, if it had gone through the goals, it would have been a kick.
I don't think it hit his foot. Three-quarter time at the MCG. And the Tigers extend their margin once again. They've booted 6 goals, 3 in that term. Carlton booted 4 goals straight. And at the final change, it's Richmond 19-11, 125. Carlton 5-3-33. Andrew Cracker with 5 goals for the Tigers, including 3 in that term. Nathan Brown's booted 4. Pettifer and Richardson with 2 apiece, while Matthew Lappin has 3 for the Blues. Three-quarter time at the MCG. The margin 92 points in favour of the Tigers. There is Dennis Pagan having addressed the troops at three-quarter time. A long day at the office for him. And the Carlton players, well, they were more competitive in that third term. They added 4 goals to Richmond's 6. Showed some signs, but still need to finish much stronger in this final term to have something positive to take out of the day. Look, Cade Simpson's been fantastic. We've mentioned him a couple of times. Andrew Walker's had 12 possessions. Individually, they've tried hard at times. They just haven't gelled together as a group.
No, they haven't, and I think that's because Richmond haven't allowed them to do that. I thought Waite's still been all right. He's had 12 possessions playing across half forward, and O'Halpin's gone to the bench. I don't see the sense in that. You can't win the game. You've got a kid who's playing his first game, hasn't had a touch or an official touch yet. Let him get out there and have a go for the last 30 minutes.
Final term at the MCG. Anthony Koutafidis heads down to full forward. Richmond by 92 points. Can they beat the Blues by a ton for the first time in their long and proud history? Free kick, and it's too high, and it's going the way of the Tigers. It's coming back to their second gamer, Danny Meyer. Straight up the middle. French drops back into the hole and takes it defensive 50. Goes to the run of Scotland. Goes looking for Johnson. Awkward bounce for him.
Bad kick.
Meyer comes through, turns it over. Crashing in was Pettifer, did well. Shrugged a tackle. Handball to Graham. He swats Teague side. Handball out wide. Here's Meyer again towards Simmons. He takes the mark, 65 from goal. Wants to move it on quickly. Will attack the top of the square. Richardson in best position and got it. Off his chest, play on. Almost brought it down. Camporelli, Spawn. Kicks partly smothered. Deletio. And again, uncontested players inside 50. Campbell. Brown on the boundary line, capable of anything this afternoon. Richmond player down at centre-half forward is Pettifer. Got crunched in that pack. There's Richardson. All but took it and then got a boot in the face. Got Richo's back heel in the face. Just when he thought everything was going right. Noble got the tap down to Brown. Tried to get it on the boot. Restricted by Wiggins, who won the football. He scrapped hard today, Simon Wiggins, against very, very tough numbers. And here's Simpson. Career high possession tally for him this afternoon. He's up to 12. Whitnell around the members' wing. Awkward kick inboard. Jared Waite lunged and made it good.
Well, he's got it across half back. Whitnell continues to run. After taking the ball in the back pocket, this kick's a poor one. That's been a problem all afternoon for Carlton. They have been way, way off target.
Well, just signs. Even he's Scotland, who I think is a very good kick on either side of his body. Comes off halfback, you know, about 2 minutes ago and just misses the target by 15 metres.
Coughlin on the back edge of the centre square, kicks a high ball to the half forward, flank Simpson. Nudged out Whitnell. Still good enough to take the grab. Gets it across to Waite. Inside 50. He's looking for Koutafidis on the stretch, couldn't take it. Callaway, desperate, dives on the ball. And we've got a ball up 45 metres out from Carlton's goal.
That man who just been screened before just walked away, Mark Graham, he's just had a good role to play, hasn't he? You know, he just got one right in the mouth, came better, but you don't want to be there off your own teammate. But he's had his role and he's done it well, Mark Graham. Oh,
Lappin to Scotland.
Chaffee.
Great smother. Chaffee take a bow. Here's a chance for Bowden, goes short to Callaway. Now the run starts. On the charge, on the burst is Newman. Edge of the centre square, he's looking for Simmons, but just dropping short. Taking an easy grab was Whitnell to Stevens. And again, didn't really quite hit the target, did it, Tony? Stevens good enough to run onto the ball. The centre half forward, 2 against 1. DeLuca was the high flyer. Waite tried to tickle it, taken by Johnson, wrapped up in the tackle. Tiger's been fantastic in that department today. Waite goes short. He has set it up and Lappin has booted his 4th goal.
Well, I think if you talk about forwards, Jared Waite is one player for Carlton who can hold his head up. He's kicked 1 goal, but I think he's set up a few times and he has given them an option. One thing I love about him is his ground level work too. You see here, just follows up Johnson. Quick, good handball out of pressure. And Waite, well, I don't know. Yeah, he did pass the ball. Could have had a shot on goal, but passed it to Lappin.
So Matthew Lappin, Carlton's only multiple goal scorer. He's got 4. French and Waite with a goal apiece. Adds up to 6-3-39 for the Blues. Richmond 19-11, 125. In front of a big crowd here at the MCG. Simpson again for Carlton. Out in front of Scotland. He's got some time and space to gather and look up. He's got Walker over the top. Gathers his balance, goes further afield and turns it over.
Second one, the quarter.
Coughlin to Bowden. Bowden to centre half forward. Simmons looking dangerous. 1-on-1 against Whitnell. Got an awkward bounce. Lance did well, but went to ground. Got back to his feet and delivers to Stevens on centre wing. French leads short. He'll go over the top to Waite. They've got a loose man. Jared Waite can lope to 50. Looks around, assesses the situation, goes for home. It'll get to the square. Touched by Gasper. Minor score. Right to the line. Darren Gasper kept his eyes on it.
Well done.
DeLuca just couldn't get his body between Gasper and the ball. The Tigers bring it back into play.
It's an amazing game, football, isn't it, KB? The last 2 or 3 years, everybody's saying, well, Richmond need key position players. Gasper had that knee injury and never came back as good as taking him a whole year. Now, they're just brilliant. They've been brilliant today.
Coughlin, 34th possession. French under enormous pressure. Stevens crashing in. Umpire's blown the whistle. Free kick to the blue. Hands off to Waite. Loads it up, went with the torp, didn't strike it sweetly. Betts almost brought it down at ground level. Here's Eddie Betts, boot to ball, somehow in all that congestion. And it's been that sort of day for Carlton. If that had been a Richmond kick, it would have bounced through, Shorey. Some days it just doesn't go your way as Chaffee comes away in his 150th.
And he's looking for Pettifer, who charged at the ball, taken away by Tuck. Big improver, beautiful kick, finds Simmons. Didn't even have to break stride. Loose player. Campbell rockets the ball. The run will come from Pettifer. Kicks a high ball. Richardson pushing and shoving with Thornton, big and strong. Could be danger at ground level. Cracker is there as well. He's already booted 5 goals. Stevens goes wide and takes the grab in front of Coughlin. To Lappin. He's been their only live wire forward today. Squeezes it right along the boundary line inside 50. Still a chance for Waite. Just couldn't quite handle the ball. Callaway, along with Gasper and Chaffee, been fantastic in defence, and Newman. They've been unstoppable today. And a bit of showtime that time from Joel Bowden on hands and knees. Didn't quite hit the target. Well, Delidio on screen.
Either Matthew Lappin's kicked forward. He's there kicking now to touch instead of kicking to teammates. How bad it's going for Carlton.
Richmond looking at their 3rd home win in a row, KB, which is important for them. To get back and have the MCG is a bit of an intimidating factor for them again.
Well, I think they're looking at more than winning. They're 85 points in front, and looking at a bit of history as well, because 77 has been the biggest margin ever over Carlton until today. Here's a chance for Thornton. Richardson says, I want a free kick, and he's got it. So he's going to kick his 3rd goal, because surely on a day like today, even Matthew Richardson couldn't miss, Tony.
Okay. We just saw him drop a chest mark that normally, but no, look, that's the 3rd big long kick that's come into Matty Richardson and Thornton, and I think Brett Thornton was very lucky on one of those occasions anyway. Yep. But 3rd time lucky for Matty Richardson.
So Richardson to kick his 3rd goal, and this to put the Tigers 91 points up, straight through the centre.
Interesting then to see Wayne Campbell come across to Matthew Richardson. And just probably, I'd suggest, Tony in his ear to said, hey, go through your routine. I know you're only 15 metres out and we're miles in front, but make sure you kick it.
Well, gee, I don't know. The umpire saw one free kick, but you could see Thornton was held by the jumper in the first place in the marking contest. They're those ticky-touch ones, but I think now, with this new rule and a few other things, forwards are getting an easier run, and they may deserve it in some ways, because, gee, we had ex-full-backs who used to hang on, and blokes like
well,
Steve
you could see quite clearly Richardson's jumper there being stretched.
Yeah, but Thornton was earlier, just before. I thought Thornton held Richardson's jumper, so when umpires missed one and paid the other.
It's been a tough day for Brett Thornton, given the volume and the quality of inside 50s that have been streaming in towards him today. He's had to work overtime, as have most of the Carlton defenders. Simon Wiggins has had a big job on Nathan Brown. And whilst Richo's kicked 4 and Richo's kicked 3 and Brown's kicked 4, their respective opponents have certainly had a dip. As I say, weight of numbers has just been telling at times. Meyer got a quick kick out of the congestion. Whitnell went back, couldn't haul it in one-handed. Good body work from Campbell to dispose of Teague. Brown stands and delivers from 40 metres out. Thornton did well.
Well done.
Another minor score.
Some forwards have just got an innate ability. Now, you know the goals don't move. They're set in concrete. Right. But haven't they just to take 2 steps where other blokes will try and invent and dodge? Nathan Brown twice today, he's had his back to goal, but just knew 2 steps sideways gives me the space to kick in that area.
He somehow manages to find that space in traffic too, doesn't he? It's like the rest of the traffic goes blurring past and he's standing still.
Sideways. He goes sideways.
Here's Stevens off the hands of the pack. Prendergast ran over the top of it. Free kick going to the Blues, and it's coming back to Ian Prendergast. Back into the side this afternoon, a late inclusion. He and Satandro helping. 2 changes for Carazzo and Chambers for the Blues. The back of the contest, Gasper confronted by Lappin, spun through the tackle, advantage paid. Tuck links up with Gasper. Coming off the bench, in from the side was Walker, forced a contest, got it to ground. Koutafidis and Walker sport each other. Pettifer the beneficiary, kicks towards Simmons, has got 10 metres on Whitnell from 50, wants to get back on his favourite left boot, and does, chips it, but again Simon Wiggins, full credit, didn't give up on the lead, and cuts across to take the mark.
Finds Camporelli across half-back. Casual bounce of the ball. Carries the ball to the wing. Now hammers it inside 50.
Look at this.
So no one in particular. Richmond have numbers back there as Newman just glides onto the ball. Rockets the ball wide to Delidio, who does love to run with the ball. It's a good attribute to have as a young man with fresh legs. Plenty of bounce, plenty of spring. Taken away by Campbell. One old-timer to a new head in Meyer. Again, Richardson trying to take with one hand with strength. Wrapped up in the tackle that time by Thornton, pleading with the umpire for a free kick. Pleading, and finally gets it. Dry smile from Richardson, who glances up at the scoreboard.
KB, that style of play, those number of handballs coming through the middle of the ground. I said it before about Terry Wallace. That's the trademark. Just use each other up, run the lines. And they've had a powerful forward line to kick to on the end of it.
Whitnell to centre wing. Koutafidis. Again, a lot of Carlton players kicking around their body today, Tony.
On
and
their
I reckon,
non-preferred?
Yes, and I reckon that's one of the reasons why they've really struggled. Now it's touched right on the line. Another desperate save there by Gaspar. If you had a couple of times even with Heath Scotland on the non-preferred side, instead of maybe going down the line, trying to bring the ball back across their bodies, and the kicking today by Carlton has let them down.
That's what a bad kick by Richmond.
And Heath Scotland has got a chance to kick.
Well, normally, look, and I said that
Carlton's
about Heath. He's made 2 mistakes. He normally kicks beautifully on both sides of the body. From a set shot, gee, I think he's one of the best in the competition. Maybe the distance, he's going to kick from 52 metres. That might be the telling factor here. But normally, very, very straight kick at goal.
Heath Scotland has just kicked the 1 goal for the season. Hasn't troubled the scorer today. From 52 metres, it's right on target, right to the line. And has kicked a goal. You're a good judge, Tony.
Well, you see a youngster who comes into your footy side and you coach him for a couple of years, you know their abilities, you would hope, and that's what he does well. But look, you're right, it's been he's had a couple of kicks around the around the ground where he's messed up on his left foot. He does like to get onto his left foot to give himself space because he isn't quick. And as you know, left footers get a lot of space that side of the body. And he's a genuine right footer, but does move onto his left a lot in the game.
2012, 132 Richmond, Carlton 7-5, 47. Heath Scotland boots his 2nd goal of season 2005. French got the tap. Again, Coughlin. A career-high 35 touches for Mark Coughlin. Now inside 50 to Richardson. A frustration from Brett Thornton. And Kane Pettifer gets in his ear. Troy Simmons goes and pats him on the back and says, "That's all right, mate."
Oh, well, I'll tell you what, don't you like to see that in Brent Thornton? I know he's been beaten today, and this is the first time Richo's got him in 4 games, but he is filthy that he got outmarked, and that's what I'm saying about a leader of the future, just to show his teammates, I hate this happening to us and to me.
What about the Richmond players giving it to him? Here's Richardson. Right. Kicks goal number 4. He hates to be beaten in any contest at all, Brett Thornton. And here's Lance Whitnell. David Teague getting across with a couple of words of encouragement.
Well, they're saying, look, we don't want to do anything stupid now. You're getting frustrated, and we know you're a great competitor, and you don't like losing, but, you know, this game's gone. We've got to look to next week now. And you can just see, look at that. Oh, gee, I hate being out here when it's happening like this. And that's what makes good footballers, makes footballers good footballers and good leaders.
23 goals for the season to Matthew Richardson. He's booted 4 to Nathan Brown, also 23 for the season. Andrew Cracker has kicked 5 goals today, 3 of those coming in a stellar 3rd term. That man on screen kicked his 600th goal today in AFL football when he kicked that first goal in the 1st term. 2 goals coming in that 1st term, 1 in the 2nd, and 1 in the two in the final quarter for Matthew Richardson. So the Tigers have really just been playing with Carlton since that first quarter when they opened up a 44-point lead. They led by 77 points at half-time, 92 points at 3-quarter time. Here's Brown out in front of Wiggins. And again, just marking in front. Richmond's kicking today has been superb. Players running onto the ball.
Just wonder about some of the matchups, Carlton. You know, we've said earlier about Wiggins. He's not at the calibre of Nathan Brown. Nathan Brown. So he's been there all day and he's tried hard, but gee, just class tells in the end. Maybe they had to give it to a senior player like Teague.
Tigers by 91 points, and Brown this time has pushed it to the right. And through for behind. 4 goals, 3 to Nathan Brown. Coghlan with 35 possessions, Bowden with 29, 21 to Campbell, Johnson with 20, Tivendale 19 and Tuck 19 to Newman as well. Ray Hall also 18.
Fair return from your midfield there, KB.
Pack of players. This time French got his hands on the board. Delidio working hard in close. Coghlan make that possession number 36. Back to Johnson and Pettifer. It was a brave mark, just running with the flight. And Campbell will take the short kick.
Should have a shot.
It's a tough angle, but he's shooting from 45 metres.
It's a beautiful kick for goal. Just take your time.
They got the team rule as well, Tony. No playing on inside 50.
No, not for. I think it's only for Matty Richardson just to settle him down, because they know he can always kick the distance. It's just about accuracy. The thing about Matty Richardson, he's a chance of getting 10 shots at goal, and if he messes up 4 of them, he might only kick 3. But if he takes his time, he could kick 6 every game.
Game number 282 today for Wayne Campbell. He's been at 3 goals for the season. He started on the bench.
It's a beautiful kick.
And Wayne Campbell has hammered it home. Well, his first goal.
He plays a role now, Kevin, which happens to everybody later in their career. He plays a lot off the bench.
Impact player.
You know he's still a very smart player. Well, whether it's an impact player, I don't think he's got the athletic ability to be an impact player, but
a compact player.
A compact player. Someone knows how to play the game, is very smart and can finish like that. But yeah, coming to the end of his career, been a great servant of this club. Don't know whether he'd be a chance of playing 300 games. Would that be right?
No, he's up to 265.
Oh, 265 was it? Sorry, I thought you said 280.
52,234. Good crowd in for a disappointing contest. Great result if you're a Richmond fan. Up to 98 points. Can they beat the Blues by 100 points for the first time ever?
Did they count him before half-time?
No, he's played 282 games, Wayne Campbell.
282.
282.
Johnson in over the top. Camporelli in there as well. 8 minutes remaining. 98 points the margin. That's what's got the crowd buzzing. There's Brendan Favola watching on. He'll return next week. The Carlton side to play Geelong Friday night at the Telstra Dome.
I think his picture just went up on the big screen, and everybody's booing him from the Carlton side point of view. They know that he's let the club down.
Graham got the tap to Campbell. Going back with the flight is Spawn. Takes the mark on his chest. Quiet day for Trent Spawn. Just his 4th touch. Played just 36 minutes. Now to Stevens. Stevens up to 29 possessions. Goes towards Koutafidis. Floating over the top was Tambling. Scotland back to Kuta. Here's Camporelli. Through traffic to Koutafidis. Inside 50. Lappin gets on the end of it. He's booted 4. (16 possessions, 5 marks for Matthew Lappin.
If he kicks this, he's going to kick 5 out of 8. So you thought, what a very good return. I'm pretty sure he's starting in defence early in the game.
He struggled early, didn't he, Lappin?
Yeah, and then they put him up here. He's been a target.
His best is 6 goals in a game. Awkward looking kick off the boot. It's done enough. Lappin's got 5. 1 in the second, 2 in the third, now 2 in the final term. The margin back to 92 points as we tick over 19 minutes in the final term.
Well, he's a good player, Matty Lappin, isn't he? Again, a very smart footballer, not super quick, but plays both ends. Doesn't play in the middle of the ground as much as I'd like because he's so creative. I just wonder how he runs, whether he's got the stamina to do it. But you know he's got the smarts to outbody a player bigger than him in the back line, and then forward, he just knows where to lead to, and he's good mark for his size. Can't beat players who can kick goals, Tony. Very, very important. Tigers next week play Collingwood. This win today is Richmond's 999th win. So next week, if they can beat Collingwood, it will certainly be a milestone, their 1,000th win in AFL football. Here's Tivendale, goes short. He can raffle it. Gives it to the skipper, Kane Johnson. Rockets the ball to Campbell. Captain to ex-captain. Brings up a goal. That was a training run. 2 goals to Wayne Campbell. And wouldn't that be some win for the Tigers over Collingwood, Tony? Their 1,000th win since coming into the competition in 1908. How would that be? Geez, you're jumping the gun a bit, aren't you? Well, I want you to support your mighty Pies. Oh, we're looking forward to it because we've only played, we play Fremantle tomorrow in Perth and then have to travel back. So we're looking forward to that, KB. But, gee, the juggernaut, don't they, Richmond? They jump on board. They jump on board. They've been through a couple of hard years, and good luck to them, because they're a great club when they've got their supporters up and running, and they're pretty quick to drop off, as you know.
Gee, I was able to reel in Tony Shaw very easily.
I think you might have him on the hook, KB.
Got him on the hook.
It's been 25 years since their last flag, and just good for football to have 52,000 in again today, watching Richmond and Carlton.
1990. Did you play in that, Tony?
Yeah, I saw it. I think.
Teagan over the top of it. Have another bounce. Just over 6 minutes remaining.
Long time between drinks, KB. But look, it is great. I think it's fantastic. Terry Wallace, well, he's a superstar coach now, isn't he?
Kudafides to Camporelli. Tumbles it inside 50.
Think they should re-sign him?
Re-sign him for another 5. He'll coach till 2015.
Newman to Campbell. Over the top.
Got to re-sign him, don't they?
Kellaway.
Extend his contract.
Coughlin to half forward. Now Richardson on Whitnell. At least for that contest. As Spawn to Camporelli. Across the body, has to stand and wait. Does Kuda. And takes the mark at defensive 50.
The old head Stevens, Camporelli and Kuda, they've worked hard, haven't they?
Yeah, they do. I still worry about a number of their senior players getting cheap stats around the back. Running around the back.
That could be a point, Tony. That could be a point, I suppose, going forward. Today they were so stagnant, weren't they, early in the game? And maybe even stagnant now. Not much has improved for Carlton since the first quarter.
Well, they're forced backwards, but they do it a lot in games. I like to see those midfielders be the one who link up through the centre, that they're either having shots on goal through 50 or setting up shots on goal.
I think you can throw the stats book out on this one today.
Yep.
Numbers pretty meaningless other than that one on the bottom of the screen, the scoreboard. Kellaway inside 50. Thornton with courage.
Well,
great mark. Now to Scotland. Got a man forward to the football. It's Camporelli. He pokes it down the line towards Longmuir, and he marks on his chest on centre wing. Back to Camporelli. In fact, it's Simpson rather. Now to Camporelli. To 60. Lappin on the end of it again, looking for goal number 6. Graham to clear for the Tigers. This game's almost stopped to a walk.
Well, that man who had the ball too, Darren Gaspar, he's been one of the best on ground by far.
And Longmuir this time finds the target in Houlihan. Outside of 50, so he kicks a long bomb. He's looking for O'Halpin.
Well,
and the young man that Tony Shaw wanted on the ground in the last half has finally taken a grab. This is his first kick, according to the stats. We thought he had one early in the game, which was half smothered off the boot. Maybe it didn't travel off the boot to be registered as a stat. So let's put it down to this man's first kick in AFL football after taking that mark.
he becomes the 361st player to kick a goal with their first kick in AFL football.
How many of those have been Irish?
None.
He's the first.
And I only made that up because I got no idea.
It's the first one.
Let's hope he kicks
come from the background of hurling. Be a lovely moment for this young man.
Well done.
And he has kicked a goal. Well done. There's a big moment. To Tanner O'Halpin.
I'll send that back to Ireland.
With his first kick in AFL football, albeit very late in the game. Hasn't quite brought a smile to the face of Dennis Pagan. But at this stage, he's not worried about that. He's thinking about next week and how he can get the Blues up. But for that young man, that will be shown on TV back in Ireland, no doubt.
Oh, they'll send the tape straight over there. That'll be on the news, I think, on the news highlights. But I want to see Dennis Pagan again. Can we just... It'll be fantastic. We get a replay of just so excited for the youngster. You know?
It'll be a 30-second grab from the game, and they'll just sort of gloss over the score at the end of it. Great moment for Sir Tanner O'Halpin. It's been a great journey for him.
That was great. Yeah.
He's on the board. First kick, first goal in league football.
There it is. He was excited. Oh, here it is. Here it is. He's so excited for Sir Tanner. He showed a bit of emotion.
I bet you after the game he'll go up to him and say, well done.
Well done.
92 points the margin once again. Are the Blues out of the woods to avoid a 100-point belting? Stevens wrapped up.
Well, Sir Tanner, Glenn Manton said, thought he was going to be told he was delisted during the week, wasn't it? And then told he was getting a game. One of his sees Dennis come up to him, he's thinking, uh-oh, back to the seconds. Don't worry about congratulating him on his first goal in AFL football.
Stevens pulled up short after that kick. Longmuir. Handball to Camporelli. Now Simpson. For his second goal in league football. Hits the post. So he gets his first poster in league football, Tony.
So
It's a day of milestones.
He's been okay. He has been at one bonus, and there's Nick Stevens limping. Gee.
So the story was, O'Halpin thought he was going to be delisted, Tony.
Well, Glenn Mann, I think.
Yeah, called him in for a coffee, and Satan wasn't sure what the conversation was going to be about.
Delisted.
Here's Joel Bowden with a free kick.
Don't know whether Glenn wants to verify that, because I thought that was quite surprising.
Let's go down to Glenn Mountain. Is that true, Glenn?
KB, the story that was relayed to me was that Santana was a little bit unsure why he was going to lunch with Dennis Pagan, and felt that it may be some bad news. It may be a negative lunch, which Dennis has been known to have. I'm sure if he buys you the bowl of pasta and then asks you to tell you life story in front of him over lunch, that means see you later. But unfortunately, this wasn't the case, or I should say fortunately it wasn't the case, and he gets his first game here today.
You wouldn't want to be having lunch with Dennis this week, would you? He'd be just saying, sorry, Dennis, the diary's a bit full this week.
What do you get this voicemail on your phone? It's Dennis Pagan here. I want you to take you out to lunch. It's a free one. You say, no, I think I've got something else on.
Well, Longmuir has marked directly in front.
Things get worse for Carlton here today, with Nick Stevens leaving the ground with an ankle injury.
Well, he's battled hard. He's had it 30 times. And Longmuir, I think he may have just squeezed it in.
It's 5 goals to 4 in the last quarter, so they could outscore the Tigers here. I don't think Terry Wallace would be too unhappy with that. Would have loved to win each quarter, I would believe, but they haven't thrown it in. Walker centred the ball, and Longmuir, he needs to do a lot more. I think for a player who was recruited from another club, just needs a lot more input from Longmuir for the Carlton Football Club. 7
possessions, 2 marks and a goal today for Troy Longmuir. Margin 85 points inside 2 minutes in the final term. Johnson inside 50 again. Houlihan tried to work his man under it. Newman.
Well done.
Waite crashed through. Hall, good hands. Campbell, advantage paid. Gasper towards half forward for the Tigers. Whitnell will cut this one off.
Newman's been very good in defence for the Tigers. He did well in that contest.
The Blues switch to the southern side of the ground and find Camporelli. 32nd touch for him. French in the middle of the ground. Plenty of players in front of him. A lot of numbers inside the Carlton forward line. O'Halpin goes at it again. Couldn't quite bring it down. Johnson farmed it out to Bannister. Went backward towards Houlihan. Here's O'Halpin. Nudged under it. Umpire called play on. They pounce in on top. We'll have a bounce.
Camporelli, Stevens, 32 possessions and 30 possessions respectively. Heath Scotland 25, Kutafides 24. Normally when that happens, you would think Carlton will win the game, having those numbers. But because the game's open up after half-time, it's been pretty attacking by Richmond.
Santana and O'Halpin becoming the 7th player to play AFL football via the Irish system. 6 of them Irish, and Sean White actually Scottish, but came via the Irish system. Callaway fists it outside 50. Here's Newman again. Has been impressive. Continues to develop in the Richmond back half. Callaway. Tuck. Newman. They share it around. 10 seconds remaining. Towards half forward. Whitnell the double fist. Simpson can't quite get there. And the clock will stop with 3 seconds remaining.
Well, it's been comprehensive, it's been professional, and you just look to Richmond now and think, how far can they go this year? 4 wins last season, 5 to this stage of the year, so it's just been a magnificent turnaround by the club.
They set themselves for this game this afternoon. Richmond entered the competition in 1908. They've had some magnificent battles with the Blues over the years. They've been great rivals, but they have never beaten the Blues by as much as they have today. 23-13, 151. Carlton 10-6, 66. The final margin 85 points, eclipsing the previous record of 77, which was set back in round 1 of 1978. It was a golden afternoon for the Tigers as they returned to the blockbuster stage at the MCG in front of a big crowd, more than 52,000, and they turned it on. Cracker finished with 5 goals. Richardson booted 4. Brown booted 4 as well. It was a dominant performance all over the ground for the Tigers. Campbell bobbed up with 2 goals in the final term. Singles to Deletio, Simmons, Stafford, Johnson, Tivendale and Callaway. Throw 2 goals in for Pettifer as well, and that's their 23. For the Blues, well, Matthew Lappin booted 5. The rest all singles. French, O'Halpin, Longmuir, Scotland and Waite. Richmond 23-13, 151. Big winners over Carlton, 10-6, 66. It's one of the great songs in football, and to hear it belted out at the MCG after a big Richmond win puts shivers up the spine, I'm sure, of any Richmond fan. We head down to Glenn Manton, who's on the ground.
Andy, a hell of a game, mate. 5 goals and a great result.
Oh, no, it was a great result. I've been a bit quiet in the last few games, so Terry put it to me, gave me a challenge this week, and I sort of stepped up to it.
You rightly did, and Brett, you've got a football in your hand there, mate. We talk about the game being great for the team, but it's great for membership, great for your supporters too.
Oh yeah, definitely. To have a win like that, it's definitely doing something for the supporters, so it's good to give a bit back.
Now, mate, do you know how to run 15 metres, or do you only know how to run 40, 50, 60 metres? You seem to run a long way when you get the ball. Is that part of your development? Terry's pushing that?
Yeah, he's encouraging me to run, but I just forgot to bounce it, so I'll have to work on that during the week. So
we'll allow you to bounce those balls over to the supporters, and well done to both of you today. Terrific games. Well done.
It's a great initiative. After a win, the Tigers sign a football each, head off to all parts of the ground and give them to the kids. An experience I'm sure Richmond youngsters will never forget. And today, a golden experience for the Richmond fans. It's been 25 years, as we mentioned, KB. We're not getting ahead of ourselves. It's a long way to go for Richmond, but just to come to a big stage like this today, 2 sides that have got similar ambitions, trying to scrape their way back up into the top 8, and for Richmond to come out and play the way they did, particularly in the first 15-20 minutes, just set the scene, never gave Carlton a chance. Very promising signs.
Well, they look a very good side today, the Tigers. I know that Geelong and St Kilda, 2 of the best teams in the competition, have beaten the Tigers, but I think Richmond are improving, Tony. I think that there's a growing confidence. You've got to remember that they came off losing 14 games on the trot last year. It's a fair base to come from in terms of confidence and, you know, believing in yourself once again. And there's Jerry Wallace just congratulating Andrew Cracker on his 5 goals. They've got a good system up forward with the Torch. We've mentioned that. Cogling back to some outstanding form today. He had 38 possessions, but mainly just the fact that we can see that he's up and running again, which is great for the Tigers. Richmond
Players head down into the rooms to sing the song. We will bring you that song plus the post-match wrap right after this. It's Richmond 23-13, 151. Victorious over Carlton 10-6, 66.
Come on, Craigie.